I received a letter from a reader a few days ago. He's about my age and wrote, I'm in my mid 40s, my kids are growing up, my parents are aging, and I'm suddenly feeling this urgency about my finances. I've been investing for many years, but I don't know if I am doing enough or if I am doing it even right. There's no social security here in India, and if I mess up, there's no safety net. What should I do? I read that letter twice because the truth is that it could have been me writing this letter to myself. I am middle aged myself, and lately I've been asking the same questions about money, about security, and about the strange cocktail of restlessness and responsibility that creeps up on you as you reach this stage of middle age in life. Now, some call it midlife crisis, but it's rarely about buying a shiny new SUV or chasing some adventure in life. It's more about lying awake at night, staring at your personal finance spreadsheet, wondering if the numbers will still make sense when you're 70 years of age. Middle age changes the way you think about money. In your 20s, mistakes are easier to recover from. In your 30s, you're still building. But somewhere in your 40s or early 50s, you start feeling the walls closing in. You now have more responsibilities, like kids who may soon head to college, or parents who may need care, and the uncomfortable truth that your own health and income are not guaranteed to hold steady. In a country where there's no universal social security, where most of us live in nuclear families now, you begin to realize that if you fall, there are very few people to catch you. And that's when investing stops being just about growing your money and starts being about protecting your ability to sleep at night. The focus shifts to resilience, like building cash buffers or securing proper insurance, choosing an asset allocation you can live with, and simplifying ruthlessly. It's now all about defense over offense. For me, that begins with the question, if I'm not around, will my family be okay? That means a plain term insurance plan enough to cover around 15 to 20 years of annual expenses, plus any outstanding loans, minus whatever liquid assets you already have. Now, expenses matter more than income here because income can drop, but expenses are what actually need funding. So keep the cover until at least your planned retirement age and avoid the complicated riders and never mix insurance with investment. On to health insurance. I believe in a solid family floater with a generous top up, even if your employer provides one. Middle age is when medical probabilities tilt against you. And if your parents depend on you, get them a separate plan so their claims don't erode your family cover. My attitude towards liquidity has also changed over the years. In my 20s and 30s, I chased returns. Now I value access and liquidity. I keep an emergency fund covering 8 to 12 months of expenses in savings account, fixed deposit, or liquid funds. Now, this is not for seizing an opportunity in a market crash. It's for those moments when life throws something at you and you don't have the luxury to wait. As for portfolio allocation, I no longer chase perfection because it doesn't exist. I stick with a mix I can live with through euphoria and despair. A majority of my money, as far as allocation is concerned, is in equities through quality stocks and low cost flexi cap funds. Some in high quality debt without credit risk, and a small slice in gold. Now, the exact percentage here does not matter. What matters more is my ability to stay the course when the market does its best to shake my confidence. On real estate, I've learned to be practical. Your primary home is a consumption asset, not an investment. So buy it if it fits your life and doesn't derail your savings targets. Don't expect it to deliver double-digit annual returns. For a second property, just think like an investor. So calculate the net rental yield after all cost, compare it with what you get from a safe debt investment. Factor in liquidity, maintenance, and the concentration risk of having too much tied up in one place. Most middle-aged Indians are already overweight in real estate through their home and, say, family property. So don't keep adding more just because a broker insists that the airport is coming soon. Now, the question of how much is enough is really a question of expenses. A conservative approach in India is to aim for, say, 35 to 40 times your annual expenses at the point of retirement, net of liabilities, in today's rupees, and then just adjust for inflation. If your family spends, say, 1.5 lakh rupees a month, that's about 18 lakh rupees a year, which means you need around 6.5 to 7.5 crore rupees in today's terms. Now, this sounds like a big number until you consider that you might live 30 years or more after retiring, through periods of inflation and rising healthcare costs. And the way to get there is through two levers. First is earn more and spend wisely, and then invest the surplus in a way you can stick with for decades. Middle age also forces you to rethink the order of your goals. In your 30s, it's easy to imagine retiring early or traveling the world or finally writing that book you've been thinking about. By your 40s or 50s, you realize that alongside those dreams, you have to fund your children's education, help your parents, and still make sure you're not dependent on anyone in your later years. And that's where ring-fenced plans for each goal becomes essential. And as retirement approaches, the sequence of return risk or the danger of bad markets early in retirement becomes real. Now, to guard against that, I use a bucket approach. So I put a few years' expenses in cash or ultra short-term debt, which is the money which I need immediately or probably in the next 2 to 3 years. I invest in high quality debt for the medium term or the money which I'll need in the next 4 to 5 years. And for all my long-term money which I don't need in the next 5 years or probably need it beyond that, I choose equities. Retirement is non-negotiable. The children can take an education loan, but nobody is going to give you a retirement loan. So prepare well for that. Over the years, I've also realized that avoiding certain mistakes is as important as making the right moves in investing. So don't invest with borrowed money. Don't mix insurance with investment. Don't chase unusually high yields. Don't take on credit risk in debt for a small kicker. Don't pay high fees for products that don't deliver after tax returns. Avoid lifestyle creep, which quietly erodes compounding. And never guarantee loans of friends or relatives. A polite no now is far cheaper than a decade of regret. On the practical side, make things easy for your family. So keep a simple, accessible file, which is both physical and digital, with all your insurance details, bank account details, nominations, passwords, property papers, and a basic will. And add a single page that says, if I'm not around, start here. Now, at this age, there's also the reality of career risk that we should be careful about. You've all heard of people losing jobs in their 40s and 50s. And with AI changing industries faster than we expected, it's a real concern. So upskilling yourself may be the best insurance you can buy. A modest jump in income or the ability to earn from a side skill can compound far faster than chasing an extra couple of percentage points on your investments. And none of this matters if your health fails. One hospitalization can wipe out years of savings. Middle age is when you need to take sleep, strength training, walking, nutrition, all those kind of things seriously. They're forms of risk management as much as anything else. But perhaps the trickiest part is the mental game. This is the age when fear of missing out collides with fear of losing it all. You've seen friends get rich quick, and you've also seen others go broke in record time. It's tempting, I understand, to make big impulsive shifts, like all in, all equities in a bull market or all out into cash in a crash. But discipline always beats drama. My guiding principle now is margin of safety. I build it into my savings rate, my return expectations, my debt levels, and my promises to myself. I assume expenses will be higher than I think. I also assume my returns will be lower and life will be more volatile than my Excel sheet suggests. That's not pessimism, I think. It's a safety harness. At this stage, investing is no longer about proving how smart you are or trying to beat the market. It's about staying in the game. And staying in the game means building a life that can't be sunk by one bad year. Sometimes the biggest win in middle age is not the multi-bagger you picked, but the stability you built over the years. And part of the stability comes from knowing your limits. There's no shame in getting help from a trusted advisor or a friend who's been through the same journey. Middle age is not the time to test how clever you are with money. It's a time to be honest about what you know and what you don't. And that honesty may just be the most valuable asset you own. Thank you so much for your time.